action. You having sex with a woman or a child. Which one? You ain't got to be perfect to not do that. You ain't got to be a perfect human being. I'm not doing it. All these beautiful women out here, y'all got to choose children? What's wrong? What is wrong with that? I'm surprised the women ain't appalled. The women should be more appalled than anybody. All these women around here. All these robust women smelling like fruits and fruits and flowers. That part. And they got to choose children that smells like urine and feces. Children smell like urine and feces, by the way. Grown women smells like apples and peaches. That's what the pedophiles need to know. Women smell like apples and peaches. Children smell like feces and urine. Right or wrong, guys? It's disgusting. And here's the punchline. They playing around you though. That's what the passion is all about. You say, well, Marcello, why you so fired up? You know why I'm so fired up? Because they playing with me and you. That's what I'm saying. If they wasn't really doing that, then it wouldn't be no passion. That's a 7. It's wrong, yes. But the fiery passion and fury comes from the fact that you sitting up here acting like you good. Your community acting like they ain't doing this. Now you see why I'm like this. Because they acting like they good. Like they got the right to do it. That's what I'm saying. That's where the passion comes from, man. It's not just the laws itself. It's the fact that these American community people, whether they be government or non-government, sitting around here acting like they good. Like you ain't, like all your laws is 18. And they're not. They're not. In fact, your military is worse than New York. Your military, your American military, you wave flags. You've been waving flags this month because of Veterans Day. You've been waving flags this month. While you was waving flags, saluting the military, they're worse than the state of New York. And half of you Southerners would say, well, you know, I respect the military, but I don't want to step foot in New York. I respect the military, but I ain't stepping foot in New York. See, you just as ignorant. You so ignorant. Bless your little heart. You just as ignorant as they come. Because guess what? The military is worse than the New York State. New York City is when it comes to the age of consent. Your military, buddy. Which is supposed to be showing us honorable character, pure character, all that kind of stuff. This is why young people like me, see, I got to talk to young people because you old people just act like nonchalant about it. You look like a cat just sitting there looking at me. You know how sometimes how a cat just sit there and look at you for a long time and then turn away. That's how they doing me. These old folks just looking at me, right? Well, hey, it is what it is, right? Because do you want to live a lie or you want to live the truth? You want to live a lie, you want to live the truth. Hey, they shouldn't have messed with you. They shouldn't have messed with me. I don't feel sorry for them. Why are you stepping out here? And this goes for community and government. Why are you stepping out here playing with people, bruh? What's wrong with you? You know what your country doing? Let me tell you then. Let's review the information. Let me tell you what your country doing. They got 44 states with child marriage. This is what the United States of America is doing. This is one law. The second law, don't get confused. The second law is the age of consent, not marriage. They don't have to be married to do this part. This is the second law. The age of consent under 18 in 40 states. That's just overall sex without marriage. That age is under 18 in 40 states as far as the age of consent. And you feel sorry for them? How? Okay, if you feel sorry for them, this is going to take it right here. You ain't gonna feel sorry for them after this. 3 years ago, just 3 years ago, they passed the last child marriage law. You still feel sorry for them? They just passed the last child marriage law 3 years ago. How you feel sorry for somebody like that? Well, let's review what America was like 3 years ago. Let's do that. Let's review what the world was like here in America just 3 years ago. Well, the first thing I want to say is it was a year before COVID. So guess what that means? It's always going to be relevant. It's always going to be relevant. Well, if I tell you this law was passed a year before COVID, you're going to say, well, that wasn't too long ago. See, I have to break it down for people that don't think. You don't educate yourselves. Americans do not educate themselves on the average. So I have to break it down and like break up the steak. If it's steak, I got to break it down into cube steak. You can't eat a whole steak. You ain't going to get the knife. You ain't mature enough to get the knife and the fork. So I got to break it down to cube steak. I got to break it down in little pieces and stuff like you a kid. It's no way in the world you can sit up here and enforce laws against people and you contradicting yourself. You don't even know your own laws. The military and the American community, the government and the military have laws that allows adults to be with children. Now you have one or two options. You can go with the truth. You can sit here and go with the truth. Or you can sit and play games and act like it's like you good with it and it's cool. When you know that you're violating your own conscience. 3 years ago, guys. 3 years ago was just a year before COVID. Let that marinate. The last child marriage law was a year before COVID. And you'd feel sorry for them. That should take it right there. If you still feel sorry for them after they passed a child marriage law a year before COVID, then something is terribly wrong with you. We can't rely on your emotions about this situation. Because anybody in their right mind would not feel sorry for them. You feel sorry for them? I don't. I do not. You just passed a law a year before COVID that allows adults to marry children at any age. And you feel, listen, how was the world a year before COVID? How was the world? Not too different, right? So you can't say, well, the mentality was a little different back then. A year before COVID, the mentality of the world was different. A year before COVID came, how much different was it than it is now? Huh? How much different is it than it was back then? Huh? It's not too much different. A year before COVID, people were still crazy about children. People were still talking about we got to protect our children. People were still saying Wu-Tang for the kids. People were still saying all these little things that they love to say, we'll kill for the children. Wasn't they saying that a year before COVID? A year before COVID, people wasn't acting like they'll kill people for kids. So then why did your American government pass a child marriage law that same year, a year before COVID? When you know it, listen to this. when you know it contradicts the mentality of the community. It contradicts the mentality of the whole entire community. Right or wrong, guys? It's a dirty job, it's a tough job, but somebody gotta do it. Somebody gotta do this. We cannot let these people sit around here and witch hunt me and you, play games with us, but here they are passing the last child law a year before COVID, man. No. No. I'm sorry. Because I feel like this. You worse than a pedophile to me. You worse. If I had to free a pedophile or you, I'm freeing the pedophile. You know why I'm gonna free the pedophile? Because first of all, he or she might have some kind of mental disease, first of all. Who knows? Something might be wrong with them. But you seem like you all sound of mind, like nothing's wrong with you. We look in your face, we look in these politicians' face, we look in their faces, and it looks like they're all there, right? Like nothing's wrong with them, right? Like they're not off a little bit, not even a centimeter. So then, and you go to college and you go through all these educations, but yet you passed the last child law a year before COVID. No. You're too educated not to be defeated. I'm sorry to tell you. You're too educated. You know what's going on in this country. You know how crazy these people are. You know how many perverts are going around. You know more about it than us. And yet, after all you have known and acquired in your informations, you still have the gall to pass child marriage laws a year before COVID. Now you see why I'm so fired up. Because I feel like you just a pedophile. You just are attracted to children, and that's it. There ain't nothing else to say about it. When you just passed the last law a year before COVID, buddy. You can't say, well, back in the day, that's why these laws are here, because back in the day, that's how it was. How you gonna use that excuse when you just passed a law a year before COVID? You can't use that excuse. And see what you have here, in all actuality, is two different communities. You have the American community and you have the American government community. They're a community of themselves. Let me tell you how I know how. If this country is attacked by some outward force, you think the American government community is going to be side by side with you? If this country is attacked by some type of military, foreign military, you think you're going to be side by side with Joe Biden? Joe Biden is going to be in a bunker. Oh, you don't think the government officials are going to be in bunkers? Oh, they're going to be in houses. They're going to be in houses. If chemical warfare break out, here's another example. If chemical warfare break out, where you think all these government community officials are going to be? Where you think they're going to be at? In bunkers. You think you going to a bunker? They're going to try their best to seal up facilities that don't have and seal the facilities from the chemicals. That's all they're going to do for you. They're going to make massive facilities, and it still ain't going to be enough. How's it going to be enough for 333 million plus people? And guess what the government community going to be doing? The American government community. They're going to be in bunkers, way away from this stuff. That's how you know, listen, that's how you know you have two different communities already. If anybody threaten them, they have the military at their hands. Anybody threaten you, you got the military? You'd be dead on the streets. Anybody challenge them, they got military personnel, buddy. They're their own community. I'm trying to show you. That's why they don't care what they do. That's the punchline. They don't care what they do because they have their own power. If you try them, they have their military. They have their security. And that's why they don't fear. It explains why they make these laws. You don't think these people are smart enough to say, well, I don't think the American community would like these laws. I think some of them might want to kill us. You don't think they consider that? You don't think they consider when they passed child marriage laws a year before COVID that someone would want to kill some government officials? You don't think they thought about that? They don't care. They have the military and the police and every kind of security, every other kind of security right at their hands. Let you jump out of control. That's why we had to defeat them with information. That's why this is so important for you to understand. You're not going to be able to stand off with the military. You're not going to be able to stand off with the American government, physically speaking. All you got is a 12 gauge and an SKS. For people who don't know what an SKS is, street people, choppers. You call them choppers. You ain't got nothing but a chopper and a 12 gauge. How you going to beat the military with a chopper? You got an SKS, aka chopper, and that's all you got. How you gonna beat the military with a chopper? You're dreaming, buddy. You listen. You ain't gonna be able to put a dent. You won't put a dent in that, man. You won't put a thought of a thought of a thought of a dent. A thought of a thought of a thought of a dent. You won't even do that with an SKS. Okay? You will not do anything. You'd just be another dead man thinking you could shoot it out with the military. And that's why you need to listen to me. The way we beat them is with information. This information, all we have to do is inform the proper people in this country. Even the government officials, they don't know this. Listen, I know you did not know your countrymen was this dumb, right? But they are. Let's get past it. They are this dumb. They are. It's a lot of politicians that you know, and Donald Trump don't probably even know. He don't know 44 states have child marriage. You think he know? You think he knows? Why don't you go ask him? Why don't you ask Joe Biden, do he know? Why don't you ask Kamala Harris, do they know? And then after you ask them, do they know? Why don't you ask for an explanation for why it happened? Also, won't you ask Donald Trump for an explanation for why it happened under his administration? Whether he passed the law or not, why didn't he verbally show his disgust in front of the nation with this law that was passed July 1st, 2019? Why didn't he show us no disgust when his big mouth is moving about everything else? He talking about everything else. He voicing his opinion on everything else. And some people say he tried to do this and tried to do this. I ain't buying that. That man's mouth is too big for him to not talk if he has a problem with something. If he has a real problem, a personal problem with something, don't we always hear from him? So all those rallies he held, listen. All those rallies he held, do you hear him say anything about 44 states with child marriage? Big as his mouth is. Did you hear him say anything about the law that was passed under his administration? The last child law passed before COVID, a year before COVID? Did you hear him say anything about it? Did you hear him say anything at these rallies? Did you? So we can conclude with his personality, how crass he is, how big his mouth is, he wasn't really concerned about it. That's based on his personality. Well, his personality is talking about Rosie O'Donnell and LeBron James and stuff that's irrelevant to his politics or his job in politics. So he can talk about irrelevant stuff, But not talk about a law that was passed a year before COVID under his administration. That's a 7. You tell me what's wrong with that picture when he talking about famous stars and everybody and ain't got nothing to do with politics. But you can't talk about real politics. You can't talk about real laws. You can't show your real disgust for this law. He did not, guys. And he repeats himself as well. So how come we ain't hear about it? Because he wasn't concerned about it, bro. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. And these the people you put in office. These the people that talk about they run in 2024. That's a 7 hour. And you see why, now you see why I ain't got no respect for him. You'll be just like me if you knew what I knew. You'd be worse. You know why? You know how I know? Because you ain't got no discipline like I got. You would be worse. You'd be out here going crazy. If you knew what I knew. If you had the capacity to put it all together and see it as a big picture, you would go crazy. And you would be out here and you would want blood. You just don't know nothing. That's what it is. And you sit up here and criticize somebody who do. You sit up here and criticize the perspective of someone who does. But you ignorant. See, that's what I can't stress this enough, guys. Other countries are aware of their laws. It's like a thing for them. It's something that they have to, they family want to, they know the laws. You know how other countries are. Think about it. They know what's going on in their country. They know the laws. Yes, this law says this, that. They know, right? You're the only country you ain't concerned about no laws in your country. That's what I'm trying to show you. So guess what that means? Like I said before, when they know their own laws, they don't go around witch hunting people for pedophilia. Russians don't go out looking for people that are with 16-year-old girls when the laws let them do it. They're not looking for guys that are with 16-year-old girls, right? When there are laws that they are aware of, because they are educated on their laws, it's most other countries' culture to know their laws, the ones that are most important, which would be the age of consent. That's pretty important. Who you can have sex with, and what age you can have sex with them. That's pretty important, ain't it? How come your country don't know nothing about it? Because you stopped educating yourself after college. And some of you after high school. See, the difference between you when you try to point to other countries, they're not out here witch hunting people for it though. And they know what their laws are. That's why we calling for you, because you should have knew what your laws were. Like everybody, every other country. Now you see what I'm saying. Now I'm painting the right picture for you. This had to be slowly progressed. I couldn't get it all done in one day. I couldn't get it all done in 1 month. This situation is so big and huge. It couldn't be broke down like that in 1 month. This had to happen like it did. Now we find out, because first of all, it's so much information to digest, first of all. It's such a big reality and shocking reality to digest as well. And so now presently, what I'm talking about is the military is now the one. Now this is another shocker for me. I would have never guessed if you told me, this is why, see, let me read this again. Contrary to popular belief, the age of consent under the UCMJ is not 18, but rather 16 years of age. A service member can legally and lawfully have sexual content or sexual intercourse with anyone who is 16 years old or older. See, it says contrary to popular belief. See, I would have believed that too. I would have believed, no, the military, you got to be 18 to get in the military, right? I would have been like, well, no. They too strict, they too official. If you gave me a multiple choice, What's the age of consent in the military? If you join the military, what's the age you can have sex with? What's the first age digit you can have sex with? You said 16, 17, 18. I would say, nah, 18 for sure. I mean, you join the military at 18, they're official. It's the institution that everybody is able to see and investigate. It's too transparent of an institution. At least it seemed that way. But the age of consent is is 16 in the military. The age of consent is 16 in the military. And if I thought, and just when you thought I was repeating myself, how about now? How about now? This is new information. Ding, 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 ding. New. Breaking news, breaking news. Do I need to do that? Do I need to say breaking news? This is new information, guys. This is not the same stuff I was talking about this time last year. This is not the same stuff, guys. It's always progressive. See, God has something to do with this. You better pay attention. He ain't gonna put all this spiritual power in people, and we can't sit up and see what's going on in our own country. Imagine that. That's why I always have to come back to this, because God is going to use his spiritual power to get things done. Not to just make other Christians happy. Yeah, we need to get some things done with this spiritual power. You know what I got done with it? I realized this whole country is pedophiles, and they sitting up here witch hunting people like as if ignorant of their own laws, as if their own laws are all 18. Sitting up here witch hunting people. And now it's just become the most disgraceful situation it is. When we find out now, the military, where the nukes and bombs is at. By the way, guys, that's where the bombs is at. That's where the nukes are. That's where all that high-tech technology is. And yet, around all that high-tech technology, they got the unsophisticated law of the age of consent at 16 years old in the military. I'm sorry, this is the end. And this is all you need to do. You didn't need to blow up the military. You see what we did right there? Boom, ow. Did you need to put a nuke on it? Russia, pay attention. Please pay attention. Because this is the end of this. This is the end. Because see, the difference between you and them, it's a lot of big differences. It's a lot of differences. But the main one is, if I had to choose, which was necessary to point out, it's the fact that they are so ignorant of their laws that they don't even know that they're doing the very thing that they accuse others of doing. They got 44 states with child marriage. I might add that too, Russia. You don't have child marriage. China doesn't have child marriage. America does. You should be talking about this. You politicians that are Russian, you should be talking about this. This should be all the rave to you, where they act like they're so better than you, but yet here they are with child marriage and you don't have it. Russia doesn't have child marriage, do it? Russia does not have child marriage. China does not have child marriage, guys. I know it's a wake-up call, ain't it? While you sitting up judging Russia and China, well, I tell you one thing, they ain't marrying no children. How about that part? And some people say, I'd rather go with that. That's more clean and fresh. At least they ain't marrying no children over there. So we can go beyond the age of consent and we still got them. You know why? Because they're marrying children over here. And you're not marrying children over there. And you know the other thing is? You're not sitting up witch hunting people trying to bring pedophiles to justice, and they're doing the exact same thing by law now, not by community. This is pathetic. It's hilarious and pathetic at the same time. Here you are witch hunting people and doing the very thing by law, by government laws now, and the military doing it. And you can't even put the United States together. How you gonna unite them when New York has the age of consent at 17 and the military got it at 16? How you gonna unite them? How are you gonna unite the military with New York City when New York City doesn't agree with the age of consent that they have for the military? Like I said, if you have sex with a 16-year-old girl here in New York City, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. So let's put it like this. Well, see, here's the punch. Here's the thing, though. If the military comes up here, yeah, I needed to point this out because I think this is facts, obviously. If the military comes to New York, they can have sex with 16-year-old girls. I want to run around my whole darn apartment. I want to run around my whole apartment. They can have sex with 16-year-old girls while you can't. The military, if they are active, can come to New York City, go down to Times Square, pluck up a 16-year-old girl and have sex with a 16-year-old girl, take them back to their hotel, and you can't. You get locked up for doing it. Well, the age of consent here is 17, buddy. You try to watch the military. You try to watch a buck private do it. You try to watch a lieutenant do it.